Chapter 1. It was early in the morning, around 4 a.m. I was in the basement examining some chemicals, and the lights were rather dim. There was a window above where I walked, but only a little bit of moonlight came in from it. Suddenly, something fell over and made a rattling sound. I almost didn't notice it because I was so focused on my walk. I looked back to see that it was just an empty soda can that I had sitting on top of some boxes. I went back to walking, only this time I wasn't as focused. A few seconds later, some of my other stuff was knocked over, making loud thuds and bangs. This time, I was startled. "Who's there?" I asked out loud. There was no response. I turned around and continued examining my chemicals, pretending like nothing was happening. Then, about a minute later, I started hearing footsteps walking towards me. I stood still, too afraid to look back. The footsteps soon faded. That's when I decided to turn around. But I did not see anyone, so I looked back to my walk. After a few more seconds, something touched me on my shoulder. I turned quickly and jumped back, nearly knocking over my chemicals. I yelled out in terror. That's when I heard someone burst out into laughter, and I could tell who it was. My friend Richard revealed himself in the light. "I got you good," he said, having a hard time talking from all his laughter. "Seriously, dude?" I asked angrily. "You nearly gave me a heart attack." He calmed his laughing. "Sorry, I couldn't help myself." "Did you really have to do it this early in the morning?" "Yes. It wouldn't have been as fun if I did it any other time." He finally stopped laughing. Richard was a good friend of mine, but he would get on my nerves sometimes. He was a little shorter than me, standing about 5'6", and he was skinnier than me. He also had slightly shorter hair that he always had slicked back. It seemed like he never stopped making jokes or pulling pranks. The thing he usually liked doing the most was making weird faces to make people laugh. It would get annoying, but he was still a cool guy to hang around. My brother Henry came downstairs. "What's going on?" he asked. "I was just pulling a prank on Thomas," Richard responded. "I could have been in danger," I said to Henry. "Why did you just come down here all calm like you're not worried?" "Because I wasn't worried, Thomas," Henry replied. "It's been a really long time since something bad has happened here. I really don't think that will change anytime soon." Well, this could have been the time it changed. I started putting my chemicals away. And I still find it hard to believe that this town has gone 30 years without anything bad happening. Why? Everyone is nice to each other. Yeah, I get that. But how has the town only consisted of nice people for so long? And never mind. I'll be in the living room. After all that was said, I walked out of the basement. Richard and Henry decided to do the same. Henry was Jean's only son. He was not really my brother, but he has been treating me like one ever since I came here. I have gotten more closer to him than to anyone else I have ever known. Even closer than I was to my real parents. He was very helpful towards other people, and always tried to do the right thing, just like his father. He also looked very similar to his father. They both had very short hair, the same facial structure, and stood about the same height. The only difference was his father having a bigger mustache and having a few wrinkles on his face. When I got to the living room, I turned on the TV, then lay down on the couch. I fell asleep shortly after. Henry woke me up about an hour later, and I let out a short scream. "Sorry, Thomas," he said. "Did I scare you?" "No," I answered. "I just had a bad dream." "Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't think I've had a bad dream before. I hope you don't experience them a lot." "I don't. This might be the first I've had since I moved to this town." "What was it about?" Richard asked. "You and I were walking around. talking about something. I took a pause to sit up. Then we came to a cliff, and that's when the sky got very dark. I turned around and saw you walking closer to me while your eyes were blacked out. Then you pushed me off the cliff. Thomas, we did a trust fall together. Why would I push you off a cliff? I didn't say you would. It was just a bad dream. It probably happened because you had to scare the life out of me this morning. Well, let's go take a walk outside, Henry suggested. Maybe that will make you feel better. He then put his arm around my back and walked me out the door. Richard followed us. The sun had just started rising, and I could hear the birds chirping. It was very cool outside with little to no wind, and no clouds in the sky. This was the typical weather every morning in Windwasher, and it didn't change too much throughout the day. It basically only got slightly warmer as the sun rose, as one would expect. The weather was perfect all the time. Even though I was used to it, it was still impressive. Once in a while, I would expect it to start storming, but it never would. Basically only rained about half a day once a month. I did not understand how or why the weather was this way, but I learned to just accept it.